you heard about potato starter? And I was like, potato starter? What on earth is that? So yeah, it's much easier. It's the best sourdough I've ever made, and the bread turns out perfect every time. Hi everyone, welcome back to Wildwood Cottage and welcome back to Wales. It's lovely to have you here. Hope you're all doing well and I hope you're all having a good week. Today we are going back into the kitchen and we are going to be making my potato sourdough starter. I talked about it in the video on Sunday, and we are also going to be making pancakes as well, using the sourdough starter in the pancakes. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of what's going outside as well in this video. I'm not going to take up too much time in the video because I think doing the sourdough and doing the pancakes is going to take quite a bit of time. But yeah, I'm going to show you a little bit of what's been happening in the garden because I'm very excited. The polytunnel is nearly finished. I've done all of hoops. I've just got to do the door frame today. And I've started clearing and putting the raised beds in place. So I'm very pleased with the progress so far. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go into the kitchen first, going to have a look at the sourdough starter and the pancakes. And then if you're interested, towards the end of the video, we're going to have a little look at the veg garden, the new Victory Garden outside the polytunnel. So I'll see you in the kitchen in a minute. Right, I'm back in my kitchen and I'm going to show you how to make potato yeast or potato yeast for sourdough. I've been making mine for a while and it needs a bit of a stir. As you can see, it's a really active yeast. Now I've had this one going for about 2 weeks. If you see it, you can see the stretch in the bubbles on the side of the pan. So this is a really, smells delicious, active yeast. And I keep it in this pot here on the worktop in the kitchen. I keep a good lid on it. You need to have a decent lid to stop any flies getting in and laying their eggs on the top, because they will, because they're attracted to the sugars. So all you need is some boiled water from some potatoes that you've been cooking. And we had mashed potato last night. So I've got the potato water from that ready to use. And that's here, just here. It does need a strain because it's had, I added a little bit of carrot to the potato water after I'd finished the potatoes, just to make the use of the water and get all the vitamins out of it. I need to strain that first. So that's what I'm going to do. And you just need some ordinary plain flour. You don't need any fancy flour. You don't need any fancy bread flour. You could start it off with wholemeal flour, but I find that the white flour is better. The wholemeal flour was very slow to start, but once I started adding the white flour, it's got really, really active and started to really work. So I found I have tried sourdough in the past, sourdough starter, and it never worked. And I don't know whether it was because just the plain water, because we're on spring water here. I don't know whether there wasn't enough oomph in the water or in the atmosphere. I don't know what went wrong, but it went mouldy, it went really rancid, and it was disgusting, so I threw it away. So I've tried about 3 or 4 times, much to my sister-in-law's disgust. I've tried 3 or 4 times and it just hasn't worked. So I thought, when this was suggested, I think it was either Grumpy Poo in the comments, or My Rusty Garden. She's got a channel on YouTube, so do check her out. I'll pop her in the link in the description bar below. But it was one of those two who suggested it to me, to have a go at making potato yeast. She said, have you tried potato yeast? I was like, what the heck's that? So I looked it up, and it was something that was used during the war, potato yeast, for people to make their homemade bread. So I thought I'd give it a go. I've made one loaf and I popped it on a video the other day. So pop that in the I button for you. But I just thought I'd show you how to make the yeast yourself. So just get my flour, get a jug and a sieve, and we'll make it together. Now, what I started this one off in was one of these. It's one of those sprouting jars that you can get, and people put an elastic band on, but I could already see that mine had doubled in size, so I didn't want an elastic band. But it's got one of these mesh screens on the top. Now it stops flies getting in and also makes it easier for draining your sprouts when you're doing sprouted vegetables, like broccoli seeds and alfalfa seeds and things like that. So I just tried one of these and it worked really well. I'm just going to sieve the water to make sure that everything's out of it that needs to be out of it, because you don't want your yeast going mouldy. There you go. I'll add that into something else. It won't go to waste. So this is the potato water that I'm going to use. I'm not going to use it all. I'll put it in my Walton pie, because I'm making that today as well as a recipe video. And this is my yeast. Now look how good that is. Now what I could do is I could just take a spoonful of this and add water, add flour and start again. But I don't want to do that because I want to show you how to do it from scratch. But if you're going to give it to somebody, you can just take it out of there and just give them that. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some water. Now it's easier if you measure it to start it with. So I am going to use, is this a quarter cup or a third? Half a cup. So I'm going to use half a cup to start with. So we'll put that in there. There we are. Pour that into your thing. And then I'm going to put the same amount of flour. Right. I'm also going to feed this one as well. So I'll show you how you feed it. Get yourself a fork. Mix it up. Another one in. Now I like to mix it until it's like toothpaste. The consistency of toothpaste. But you want to do it a bit at a time because you don't want lumps. I'm going to add another one. See how we get on. That's better. Right, you can see that's gone quite thick in there. That's kind of the consistency you want. I tend to go by texture with things rather than accurate measurements. But if you want an accurate measurement, it was roughly a cup of flour. I used 4 of them, 3.5 quarter cups, and I used a half cup of water. Now that's perfect. I think that's perfect because you want it to have something to stretch in. Now you're going to leave that to sit on your counter and try and scrape it off the sides. Here we go. Now you want to put your lid on, put this on, and leave it for 24 to 36 hours on the countertop, and then come back to it. And then what you'll do then is you'll add a quarter cup of this, of flour, and probably half of that quarter cup of water, just to keep the consistency. The main thing you want to check really is the consistency, that it's quite thick. I can already see that that's a good thickness, and it's already starting to bubble. So yeah, that's good. I left the potato water overnight and it seems to have made a good active sourdough starter. So yeah, what we'll do then tomorrow, come back and add another, as I say, another spoon of each water and flour. And we'll do that probably for about 7 days. And then after 7 days, it'll then start to be looking like this one, which will mean we can use it for sourdough. Just a sec, I think the stuff on the stove's burning. Right, so I'm going to show you now how to feed the one that I've already got, because I want to make some bread. The kitchen's quite warm, so it will get active again. I'm just going to let this one sit on the counter. Right, so this is my active one that I started. Ooh, when did I start it now? I started it, just a sec. I must have started it about a month ago, when the lady suggested it. As I say, it was either Grumpy Poo or My Rusty Garden. Can't remember which. Anyway, I'm going to add half a cup of flour to this one, only because I'm going to use it. definitely ready to be used. Most definitely. I like to mix the flour in first, just to incorporate it before I add more water, and then I can see how much water I need to add. And I think I'm going to add some of my potato water rather than just ordinary water. So that's that mixed in. As I say, I did start this one with wholemeal flour. But as you can see, it's a really good, to make a really nice bread. I'm going to make a bread with it today, so see how we get on. But it smells delicious. Right, and I'm just going to add a third of a cup of water. I'm not going to add a big cup. This is the potato water, and I'm going to mix that in. Do it slowly. You don't want to splash yourself with it. But again, it's just another use of something that you've already made, and it just makes it into something else. And that's what I love about war rations and the wartime cooking, is that you're making use of every ounce, every scrap, every crumb, literally, as in with breadcrumbs, because I use that on the top of my crumbles. You're making use of everything, literally everything. I use it on the top of my cottage pie as well to add a crunch. Instead of adding loads of cheese, you just add breadcrumbs and then a little sprinkling of parmesan, and that just does the trick. So that's ready. I think that amount of water was just right. Yeah, that's great, that. So I'm going to leave that on the top, on the countertop, for a couple of hours, and then come back and make some bread. Right, we'll leave that to do its thing, its funkiness, and then we'll come back. So it's day 2 of my sourdough, and I've let it rise overnight. It's got quite a few bubbles in it, and it looks ready to have some more flour added. I've left it about 36 hours just to give it a chance to get some yeast in it and start fermenting. So I'm going to start adding my flour, which I'm going to do in a minute, but I've just making pancakes with some of the sourdough, of my own sourdough. This is the one that's been going now for, well, probably since early in the new year when it was recommended to me. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of bubble going on. Now I've just used 200 grams of that in pancake mix with some wholemeal flour and some plain flour. And I'm going to make some pancakes with it and see how it goes and see how it tastes. So I'm just melting some butter in the pan. I'm going to turn the pan down because it's starting to smoke. I don't want it smoking. And I'm going to pour some of my mix in. Now this is a really frugal way of using your yeast to make some pancakes. Now I'm going to make some thick pancakes, I think. Put a bit too much in there, never mind. So let's move it around the pan, thin it out. I have used some ground flour that I've ground myself. I had some wheat berries in from doing sprouted wheat berries, and they need using. So I'm just going to leave that to cook, and we're going to have that for breakfast. Oh, I'm going to have that for my breakfast. Looking forward to seeing how it tastes with the sourdough, the mixed sourdough mixture, because I've not had pancakes with sourdough mixture before. But we'll see how it goes, see how it tastes. So I just thought I'd show you that while we do the sourdough mixture from the other day. So I'm just trying to fill in the edges and make it round. Right, I'm going to leave that to cook in the pan. All the little blobs you can see is the wheat that I ground myself. So yeah, we're going to add some flour to this one because I'm going to make some sourdough bread later on. And we're going to add some flour to this one. Right, so I'm just going to add 1/4 of a measuring spoon to that. And I'm going to add 1/4 to this one because there's quite a lot of sourdough starter there, to this one. And I'm just going to mix that in. and use my fork, give it a mix. I like to do that, and then I like to see how much water I need to add. I'm just going to add a drop, I think, probably about half a quarter cup, so it'll be about 1/8 of a cup. There we go. Just enough to cover the bottom of the cup and make it loose enough to rise. Give it a good stir, mix some air in. That's nice and light, that. I'll try and scrape the sides down a bit so it can rise. There we go. So I'll push that in. Right, so that's it. That's all you need to do. And then I'll come back again tomorrow and do the same thing again. Now, some people do discard the mixture. I don't like doing that. I think that's a waste. Making pancakes is a great way to use when you want to discard some of your mixture because you've got too much in your jar. You can either put it in a bigger tub like I have in this one for making bread, or you can make pancakes or crumpets or scones or something like that with the mixture, and you can make something else with it. So that's just going to sit back on my counter again till tomorrow. So I'm mixing in my flour in this one. This is mine. And I want to make some bread today. So just mixing it in. And again, I'm just going to add enough to cover the bottom of my cup of water, just to loosen it up a little bit because I've added the flour. I don't like too runny a mixture. I don't think it likes it. It needs to be about the consistency of toothpaste. And the great thing is, it's something you can share with your friends. So in a wartime situation, it would have been good to share the yeast out with your friends, because instead of discarding it, you could have just given them some. Because you only need a teaspoon or so to start off another starter. And you could have shared it out with your neighbours, and then they could make bread and scones and all sorts of lovely things like that as well. So it's a lovely way to share and make do amend. Good way to barter. Could have swapped it with someone for something they had that you want. This is my pancake. It needs turning over. It's a funny colour because it's wholemeal flour. And it's a bit thick. So I think I need to thin my mixture out a bit. So pop some water in. It smells delicious. And the beauty of this is you can store it, and then the next day just add some more flour to make some more pancakes, because I've not added an egg or anything. Maybe that's why it's not working. I've not added an egg. Started using smaller portion plates, so we're not eating as much. That's actually quite nice. Doesn't matter, it's not got any eggs. I think I just whisk that. Right, so in here is 200 grams of sourdough starter, or 200 grams of flour, 100 grams of, no, 50 grams of wholemeal flour, and just enough water to loosen it up. Or milk. It's up to you. Whichever you've got. That's better, isn't it? That's more pancakey. Wholemeal flour gives the pancake a strange texture. So here's my pancake. Using lemon juice out the bottle, which would have been available during the war on points. And I think I'm going to do some traditional sugar, just a bit of sugar. There we go, just a flick. Well, let's see if we can roll it up. Oh, we can. Look at that. There we go. Would have benefited from an egg. Well, that's nice, that. You can taste the sourdough. And that wholemeal flour is beautiful. Nice ration healthy, ration good pancake. So yeah, that would have been a good ration way of making breakfast during the war, to make a pancake. Let me just turn you up a bit. There we go. There's my window ledge behind me, by the way, from another video. Yeah, a good way of bartering and a good way of swapping something with somebody else for something they've got that you want, and they will probably have wanted yeast for their baking during the war. And it was a nice, easy way of making yeast. So I highly recommend the potato flour starter. It really does work. Yeah, so this is where I'm up to with the polytunnel so far. I've got all the hoops on, and today, just on that end there, I'm going to build a door frame. And then that's going to be where I come in and out of the polytunnel, but also it's going to secure the plastic that's going over the top here. Now I am going to buy the proper plastic, but I haven't got the money at the moment. So it's just going to have to wait. I do have some other plastic that I can use. I'm going to put black along the back for the time being, and I'm going to use the see-through one over the top of the hoops and down the other side. As you can see, I've got 3 of my raised beds done. I've just got to fill them with the chip bark that's out the front, and I'm going to put a bag of compost in each one for the time being, and just to get some things growing, because I do have some spinach and chard and that kind of thing that needs to go in. I've got leeks to go in. Yeah, so there's quite a bit of stuff to go in. I've got another 4 or 5 to put out here. I managed to find this ring, so I put that there as well, and I'm thinking of putting herbs in that. And I've got a couple of tyres as well, just under that piece of cardboard, the carpet there is a tyre, and I have another 3. So I'm thinking of moving my raspberries as well. Where are we? There. And yeah, I'm going to move my raspberries somewhere else, because I don't want them at the side of the polytunnel. I want to put cold frame there. So that's going to be going down the side of the polytunnel. So this is the side of the polytunnel, and these raspberries are going to move as well as the other ones. And I'm going to do a cold frame all the way along this border here. I'm going to put mesh down on top of the soil, and yeah, to stop anything digging into my seedlings. And then they're all going to grow along here. They're going to be in the shade as well, so that means that they get the warmth of the sun, but they won't get the full blast of the sun. And it just means then as well that I'm going to get a good start on the seedlings, because no matter how I try, the seedlings die off in the polytunnel. And yeah, it's just far too hot in there for them. The sunlight is just far too strong. So I'm just finding that everything I do just dies off pretty quickly. So it's going to be a lot better along here. The chickens are going to have their chicken tunnels soon round the veg garden. So that means they're not going to be coming in here making a mess and wrecking everything. And then, as I say, yeah, I've got a honeyberry here. I've got a small cherry here, and I'm going to put a couple of other things as well. Maybe one here on this side of the where that piece of wood is there. I've got this tire here I can plant into. I can plant something else here. And then here, there is a ledge here of about 40 centimetres. So what I need to do here is build a piece of wood along here, just to keep the soil back, because over there is my polytunnel, and I don't want my polytunnel sliding down the bank. That's part of the reason for this metal here. Is one, it's going to add warmth into the polytunnel and retain the heat. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to grow in it in the winter. But also it's also going to act as a support for the soil, so the soil can't move anywhere. And I'm hoping these raised beds are going to do the same thing as well. So I've got to try and level the soil off a bit more, put another piece of wood along here, and I've got another 4 beds to go in here, as I say. And I'm just filling them full of all sticks and branches and garden rubbish that's not perennial, that's not going to regrow. I'm popping it in just to fill them up, really, because I haven't got a lot of compost. So yeah, I'm going to do my path along here. All my fruit is establishing nicely now in here. All got blossom on, so I'm really pleased. It means I'm going to get some good fruit. I'm pleased with the amount of blossom on this one. But I do need to tackle the ivy that's up there. But we do have lizards living up here, so I don't want to take too much off because that adds a screen for them. So I might just trim it with the secateurs. It's a lovely wall. We saw a little lizard running along the top of it the other day. Yesterday it was when we were having our tea, and Stripe's seen it as well, and he keeps chasing it along the wall. But yeah, so along here is going to be another chip bark path all the way down. I've got to secure it here as well to stop the soil moving and move it all the way along. What I might do is I might put the raspberries here, but I'm not sure because they need the shade, and this is full sun. So I haven't decided yet. There are other places I can put them. So yeah, that's it so far. So today I'm going to do the plastic and pop the door frame on, and then hopefully that'll be finished because I have marked it out inside. There you go. I have marked it out roughly inside. I've done a U shape, a horseshoe shape, and that's the wood that's going to be the raised bed in there. And then every time I go to the supermarket, we'll get some compost and just throw the compost on, and maybe my grass clippings as well. So yeah, it's not a very nice day here today. It's very dull. There's no sun. There's no blue sky. And I want to peg my wash now, but I'm not sure if it's worth it. But I've got some more willow cuttings. This is basket willow in here. And I've already planted some and it's coming up nicely. Because I'm hoping to take these green things off. These are just to add a screen, really, just so that we're not overlooked. Because people do walk through the path there. And there are cows that are coming back soon as well. So yeah, these are going to get planted along this here. And this is going to be my basket willow fence. So I'm not sure if this might be a good place to put the raspberries, to be honest. Might well be, might no. We'll see, because this is going to be a patio as well. All this area here is now a patio. So yeah, it's all coming together rather nicely. Right, so I hope you've enjoyed my video today and that you've now learned how to make potato sourdough. I didn't realise how easy it was going to be to make, to be honest with you, when it was first suggested to me. I think it was either Ali or Grumpy Poo that suggested it to me. She said, "Have you heard about potato starter?" And I was like, "Potato starter? What on earth is that?" So yeah, it's much easier. It's the best sourdough I've ever made, and the bread turns out perfect every time. So you've seen the bread recipe. That's at the in the last, I think it's 2 videos ago. I'll find it and pop it in the description bar and in the I button for you, and then you can check that out. But as I say, coming up in May, starting on Wednesday next week, is going to be my Pantry series, and that's going to run for 9 weeks. So I hope you're going to tune in for that. It's going to be called the Never Ending Pantry series, and hopefully it's going to give you a lot of information. And also starting in May, I don't know whether any of you are interested, but I'm going to start doing memberships. It's something I've been thinking about for a while because there's an awful lot of work that goes into the planning of these videos, into the making of these videos, and into all the research that I do to do these videos. Now, you don't have to be a member to access the information on my channel. I'm not going to do it members only. But if you do want to support me and you do want to support my work here and maybe have a couple of additional perks like shopping lists and meals recipe cards, then there is going to be a membership and that's going to be starting in May. So do have a think about it, and if it's something that you're interested in, it's not going to be a loss of money. It's going to be no more than the price of a cup of coffee, and it just means then that I earn a little bit to be able to do the work on this channel. Also coming up in May as well, I'm going to be putting affiliate links on my videos. Now that just means that I'll earn a little bit commission if you buy anything through those links. It doesn't cost you a single penny. All it means is that I do the research for you. I look for the cheapest available prices on Amazon for you, in flour, in dried goods such as beans, peas, lentils, all that kind of thing. So if you want to shop from the videos that I do, it just means that you have easy access and availability to the products that I use here on this channel. that you can use yourself, and it costs a lot less than it does buying things in the supermarket. So if they're the sorts of things that you're interested in, do stay tuned to this channel in May, and that will be coming up starting in the first Wednesday, which is a week today. So yeah, we've got another vlog coming on Sunday from the garden, and I'm hoping to show you the finished raised beds and the finished polytunnel as well, which has been 2 years in the making. So I hope you enjoyed my video. If you have, do all the usual things, like, subscribe, hit the bell, hype the video if you get the option to do so, and I'll see you again on Sunday. So take care. Bye for now. Bye bye.